Recording in progress.
And the turn of the camera.
I'd like to call the regular meeting of the City I Own Tuesday, July 2nd to order. Janice, can we have roll, please?
Councilmember Atlan,
Here.
Councilmember Mitchell,
Here.
Councilmember Rhodes,
Here.
Vice Mayor Ratten. Here. And Mayor LaFane.
Here. Item number B is closed session conference with real property negotiators, 1000 Castle Oaks Drive, APN 005-320 0341230 Shakely Lane. We are going to go into closed session just because we have a deadline on this matter and we need to discuss it ASAP. It shouldn't be very long. We take public comment on this before we go in?
Yes.
Okay, I will open up item B to public comment.
Don't forget the second one too.
Yeah, there's two of them.
There's two.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, on the first one. Anybody on Zoom? Chief? For item B?
No.
Okay, item C is conference with labor negotiators. Agency designated representative, George Lee, city manager, employee organization, Ione Police Officers Association. Do we have any public comment on the second item in closed session? No? Okay, we are going to adjourn to closed session.
Oh, but.
I washed my hands.
That's good.
What?
That's good.
You should have washed my hands. I did. Look, shut up.
Have-
Look. All right.
Huh? What?
I was yelling at Shuey.
Have fun. Don't forget there's that little tiny knife if that would help you better.
Whoa,
Huh?
doesn't.
Okay.
Tried it once and they couldn't do it.
Hmm.
Like to resume the City of Ione Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024 meeting to order. On item number B, there is direction was given and there is nothing further to report out. The second item, we are going to discuss that after the meeting. So conference with labor negotiations will move to the end of the meeting. Okay, stand for Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I get an approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Item number F, presentations and announcements. We have none. Now I will open it up to public comment for any item that is not listed on the agenda.
I'd like to know, I see where Tabor Drilling has been testing wells on Ringer Ranch. Now, being this in the city, I'd like to know the results of that. I'd like to know if PFASs or PFOASs are tested there. I think the city has a right to know the people of the city. The other thing is I brought up about methane gas. I found a neat little article about it. There was in Santa Cruz, the guy that runs it, they can put out about 3.5 megawatts if they run all 4 generators, which is they got a population of 60,000. We could probably run one on that. The only thing that really got me interested, it says it's the cheaper the purchase, small amount of power from PG&E than it is to create so much energy that we have to give it back to the grid. Unlike California homeowners, industrial plants do not get generation compensation for their generosity. I'd like to know our solar plant, tertiary plant don't run all the time, so that's feeding the grid and we ain't getting nothing for it. So what good is it? I don't understand that. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. We have, there we go.
Good evening, council. Just want to make the announcement that the fire department does have our cooling station open starting on Monday, and it'll be open until next week from 1:30 until 7 each day. Station 1 also has an ice chest out in front for a hydration station, and if people just walking by can just grab the ice cold water and take it. And so they're both available. Also, I'm putting out a public cry, I guess you want to put it, as the fireworks is approaching on the 4th of July, and we're in extreme fire conditions and our extreme hot weather. Please be extremely careful. And if you really want to do me a favor, you just put them away and wait until December. And I'm being dead serious. You put them away until December at New Year's and have a great show. And then we'd be more than happy. But right now, we just sent out a strike team of engines. One of them was ours from Ione to Butte County. And so we're not out of the woods by any means, and it's only going to get worse. So please, everyone, use extreme caution. And if you really just want to have a barbecue in the backyard, please do so and put away the fireworks, and I'll allow them in December. So thank you very much, council.
Sounds good. Thank you, Chief.
Good idea.
Any other public comment? Nothing on Zoom? Okay, we're going to close public comment. Information items, we have none. Moving on to the number I, consent calendar. I had some questions on the minutes and the warrants. I don't know if anybody else did. Just clarification questions. We can discuss them now, or we can move them to the regular agenda.
Are they in depth?
Go ahead.
Not really. On the minutes on May 21st, I noticed that now and I think it's a good thing, public comment is listed on the minutes verbatim, which is, I've always thought should have been there. But when we get to council comments, everything is edited very short. And on one of my comments, I looked and I couldn't even remember what it said or what I said based upon what was written there. So I was hoping that when council comments come in at the end, we get the same privilege of having our words put into the minutes rather than, and as an example, it was applied with the state for a government email for the city. I couldn't remember what that was, but it was
.gov.
I asked the chief of police if the IT department had moved forward with changing from a .com to a .gov. So,
Are you talking about your comments at the end?
Yeah, yeah, if you could,
Yeah. Put more detail.
just so, yeah, because I go back and so I can follow up on what the comments were before. That one escaped me. Thank you. And then on the warrants, I see Jody brought us new warrants.
I just updated the list and kind of add whatever after the walk was set and.
Okay, I just had a real quick question. Only because I haven't seen some of these before, so I just questioning warrant. Great. Or maybe I did it on the one you gave me. Page 2. Curtis, $23,000. About halfway down, there's 2 items. And it just says Curtis.
Those are for fire. hoses.
Okay. Okay.
Ellen Curtis is one of our.
Oh, okay. That's good. Then Gambrel Companies. That fire too.
Oh, that was our flag, so our public works people can put their materials, they're just not scattered all over. We got some concrete blocks put out there.
How many? 52 blocks? Oh, okay.
That separates the soils and all the asphalts and everything else, so that your courtyard is more organized and cleaned up, and it's actually more efficient.
Okay. Is Trading Post, is that advertising? Oh, it's gas.
The,
Okay. Okay.
Since we're on it, you have Elizabeth Gedney on here. Is that an old expense account that we were, or Amy, or is who? Oh, okay, okay. So it's a reimbursement pass through.
There's one more. I'd like to see the Weber Geo contract. I see there, I know it's on the matrix, but we haven't, I know that Vice Mayor Ratton asked for a copy of the contracts. Because they're consistent, their bills are consistently increasing. Last month it was 2,400, this month it's 4,400.
They do, I think they're doing a lot of billing to book you.
Okay, that's all I have on the warrants. So can I get an approval of the consent calendar?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, on to item J, regular agenda discussion on Brickyard Road annexation.
Mr. Mackey is going to do the presentation, but before he starts, I want to make sure that everybody knows this is for the Brickyard yard only. I mean, a Brickyard road only. The road only. Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This goes back to 2000, the early 2000s, when the county approached us to take Brickyard Road then. And the council did agree to it, but it was never followed through by the management back then. And fast forward all these years, county has asked again if we would like it. And it is a great asset to the city for not only now, but the future, especially for emergency access or escape routes or your evacuation zones. The road is in bad condition in some places. It's not bad in others. We do have grants available that we can, apply for because it would be an emergency escape route or emergency evacuation area for the city on all avenues, not just Wildflower and the south side, but for Howard Park as well as our alternative routes. When we had the incident on Church Street last month, we had to close down every artery coming in, and Brickyard Road actually served us as our evacuation route and thoroughfare for the rest of the truck traffic, et cetera, coming in. So it would be a good benefit all the way around to the city to keep that maintained. It was originally put in for the old Brickyard that is no longer in existence, but it was for the truck traffic back there. But this would give us a good emergency escape route. It also would serve now with the new addition of the new road coming in to the backside of the elementary school as a secondary for the buses, or even a primary, depending on how traffic flow comes out. And hopefully we never have to use it for that, but at least it would be in place. So the more prepared we are for the emergency evacuations, the better off we're going to be. And we've learned our lessons from Santa Rosa and from Paradise and all those cities that thought they had a beautiful community, and it only took one emergency and it clogged the whole system up. So the more we have available, the better off we're going to be. It also adds for our future growth. So are there any questions I can answer?
Any clarifying questions from Chief Mackey from council?
Nope.
No. Thank you, Chief.
Okay, thank you very much, Council.
We will open this item up to public comment. Brickyard Road annexation.
Actually, I'd like to know who owns underneath the road. Is that just an easement? Does US Mine own underneath the road? That's a good question you should be asking. Yeah, thank you.
Name of the road?
If the ground underneath the road is owned by US Mine, not owned by the county, they can't just give it away. That's an easement. I mean, US Mine can, but the county, I don't think they just give the road away. They don't own underneath it. They just got an easement and they got to tell the landowner all about it. That's a law. I worked for Caltrans for a while, been there.
Well, let's hope the county looked into that.
I can look into it also,
Okay.
Council. That does go through two separate property owners, and the majority of it does not go under the US Mine. They're on the other side. It belongs to another company, that's a construction company, as it shows on the APN numbers, but it's surrounded by US Mine. So before I open my mouth any further, I just want to make sure that we know whose property it actually goes through, or is it an actual county road? Because it was built during the brickyard operation itself. So I will look into that and get back to the council with that.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Any more public comment on the Brickyard? Anyone on Zoom, Chief? No? Okay, close public comment. One thing I did forget to do on the regular agenda was, I wanted to pull item 3. The city engineer oral reports, Jonathan Mitchell. He is not prepared for this.
So
He's been on vacation and yeah, so it's gonna probably take 2 more meetings for him to put this information together and come back to council. Okay, so, I'll separate it out.
So at this point, we are,
Yep, we need a direction.
I mean, we can't do anything until we know who owns the road.
Oh,
So it's gotta come back, right?
So we're gonna have to bring it back.
Typically, there's a process for when the counties relinquish their rights in county maintained and operated roads. So the direction here that you'd be giving to your staff would be, it sounds like the county's asking, do you all want to pursue this? So that the county can start their process. So that when they start their process, they'll go through, they have to meet with board of supervisors. And then that'll be offered to the city. So if that's the direction to staff, that's what you would be directing.
yeah,
to-
here's the recommendation. Ione City Council proceed with accepting Brickyard Road from Amador County and annex into the city limits. Brickyard Road from Church Street, Highway 124, all the way to Buena Vista Road, also known in the city's 2023 master plan as the Triangle. It's pretty spooky.
Well, at this point, I'm absolutely willing to move forward with the county and say, yes, we are interested, but until we know if that, we want to verify that this county actually owns the property and that we can actually take the road and will become a city road. I
So,
think
I
it's
did have-
premature.
I did have conversations with John Hopkins, who is the GSA director for Amador County. And he said the process is if the council agreed, then I would have to write a letter requesting, the property, and then they would take that request to the board of supervisors, and then they would vote on it.
But we still need,
You still need to give me the authorization, but again,
To go forward with,
Go
with
forward.
a letter to the county.
if we find that the road is owned by the county,
Right.
maybe you can preface it by that way.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's fine. I'm good with that.
we want to do it that way.
I'd also like to see that when we talk to the county, that they do some whatever repairs are needed. I don't want to take over a road. The back half of that road is
Mess.
really bad.
There's
But I
trucks.
mean, I don't want to take over a road and then we have $500,000 bill for fire protection because it's all overgrown. We were out there working on culverts last winter that were flooded. So I don't want to take over a road until, it needs to be brought to some kind of satisfaction to the city before we take it over. I don't want to take it over as is. That's what I'm saying.
That culvert, that was the property owner
Okay.
that on where the railroad's at. So that's a different
That's-
problem, but there is a
Right.
very large amount of trash out there.
Yeah. So
So
I don't.
kind of a dumping ground,
I mean, obviously, if we make the request that they have to repair it, I don't.
clean
know.
it up.
I don't know. if
Yeah,
they-
they're probably not gonna
They're not
repair it,
gonna-
but
I don't mean.
certainly clean it up.
I don't mean repair it to a fantastic road, but just, get it in shape.
So it's actually a road and
I
not,
can make that request.
Okay, so we taking no action or are we gonna wait till George speaks to the county?
Well, I think if you want to make a motion to give me the authorization, subject to confirming that the county does own the road.
I'll make a motion that we give the city manager the authority to write a letter to the county saying we are interested in the road, with the pretext that they are the owners of it and that some cleanup would be done.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item is number 2, discussion on Creek Committee reappointment vacancies. We have a staff report. Anybody gonna read the staff report or did we read it? All right, well, actually, it's your staff report, Janice. Can you read it? Okay, okay.
So, our committee was formed back in 2020 when Councilmember Reed was here as one of his duties. He wanted to see the Creek Committee taking care of the creek. And so,
Oh, okay. I
It was
thought,
Councilmember Ratton, but that's okay.
I thought you were just gonna read the staff report.
oh, I can do that.
That's all we need.
The committee consists of 5 members, 2 of which will be residents of the city of Ione. All members shall be based shall be based upon qualifications by reason of their knowledge and experience by the mayor, with and subject to the approval of the city council. The term of the office of all members so appointed shall be 2 years, except for initial appointments and except if a vacancy shall occur for any reason other than the expiration of the term of that member's office. It shall be filled by appointment by the mayor, with and subject to approval by the city council for the unexpired term of the members whose office is vacated. So there's a couple of options. The mayor can reappoint the council members. Steve Frederick, Greg Morris, Don Vicari, who have all asked to be reappointed. We did receive an email from Steve on Monday saying that he would like to be reappointed to the Creek Committee for another 2 years. And, or the council, mayor council can reopen the appointments and advertise for the 3 vacancies.
Part of the Muni code here is missing. There's a last sentence to this paragraph, but I've read it. I can't find anywhere in our municipal code where it says that the mayor can extend appointments. That the appointments are, there's 2 years, 1 year, 3 years, but nowhere does it say the mayor has the authority to extend anybody's term.
Well, the council and the mayor have the option to open it. It's been done in the past.
I know it's been done in the past repeatedly, but it is nowhere in our municipal code that we have that authority, that the terms are the terms, and when they're up, people want to reapply, they can, but I can't, I've gone through it. It's not there.
There.
No,
I'm just stating what past practice.
I understand what past practices is,
And
but
it's up to the mayor.
we are a growing city. And I know there are a lot of people that really wanted to get on these committees and they weren't given the opportunity. And if we continue to reappoint the same people, we are not giving anybody the opportunity. That's not to say that people can't continue to apply. They might be the best person to apply. But the terms are the terms, and I think it should be opened up for everyone to apply. And I guess that's it.
Well, that's your
Discussion we
prerogative.
can have. I just don't see where any of us have the authority to extend someone's term. Maybe it's at the pleasure of the council, but it's not in our municipal code. And that's probably what they did in the past.
Been done many, many times.
I understand that.
I don't think it's an extension. I think it's a reappointment. So
Yeah.
you're simply reappointing them. They as the applicants for the position.
Terms are terms. In my opinion, a term is a term. I mean, we don't say, Diane, I'm going to reappoint you.
Well, you don't get to appoint me.
Right.
But that's, well, your prerogative. You can open
I
it
just
up
feel we're at
to-
a time and our population has doubled, tripled. We have a lot of people that want to get on these committees and get involved in the government. And if we continue to appoint the same people to the same committees, that's not saying they won't be appointed again with their experience, but I would just like to open it back up to the public. So I see that's one of my options here.
Mhm.
And there's no vote on that. And I know that you did send me the terms. And then there were 2 individuals could be outside the city limits. Okay. So you could do 2 individuals that lived in the county and so on. And they were staggered terms. Not everybody served 2 years, correct?
Well, when the first appointments were made, the terms were staggered so that all 5 members didn't expire at the same.
Got it.
So that's why they were 1 year, 2 year.
Okay.
They're all 2-year terms.
Okay, thank you. Well, I guess it is my decision, and that would be item 2, to open it up to reappointment. Everybody who is sitting on the committee, they've expressed interest to stay. And do it that way. Any clarifying questions from council?
Can you verify that it's only two members that have to live within city limits? I thought it
That's what
was
it said.
two, I thought it was the majority had to live in and the non-majority had to, we could appoint outside.
Sure, right,
Two have to live within the,
Just the two. So the majority can be outside of the city limits.
two have to be the residents and 3 out.
Okay, so what's the process on that? You put out an RFP, you put out a notice?
We just advertise on our city website and, we can advertise in our newsletter. Problem is, it's not gonna get to people outside the city of Ione. I mean, the website can be viewed by other people, but not the newsletter usually. So
We have a city webpage, don't we? Okay,
And we have a city Facebook page. Both of those can be utilized.
okay. Got that, George?
Mhm.
All right, thank you. We open that up to public comment, because that's an administerial process. So public comment? Oh, we'll open it up to public comment. Why not?
Gary Thomas, 125 Maple Street. I think you have the power to reappoint right now tonight. You have a good Creek committee going on, but if you're going to be looking at everything, I would suggest that you might want to narrow the qualifications down to the citizens of Ione. There's a lot of interested people. We have a good committee going on right now. I'm just trying to butter them up, so I live on the creek.
Any other public comment? Any on Zoom, chief? Nope. Oh, that's emails, never mind. Okay, item number 3, we pulled. Item number 4, discussion and possible action regarding alleged Brown Act violations by member Mitchell. I think I have the wrong agenda. Didn't you changed this, didn't you? Okay. I don't have the amended one here, but that's fine.
it's just,
It was just my full name.
Your full name. Okay.
I got worried they were confusing him with Jonathan Mitchell, the engineer, and did not want him facing the wrath of you guys when you're trying to get at me.
Okay. This item was brought on by the recommendation of 2 council members. I will pass it over to the council members.
You wrote the staff report, Mr.
There is no staff report written because it wasn't brought by staff.
Okay.
It was brought by council members.
All right, so this is just a allegation that a Brown Act was violated from closed session. And that's basically it. Not sure if I can speak about what the actual allegation is, or can I?
Yeah, so
There,
In
you know,
general
we're
terms-
not gonna do that this time, okay? We're gonna
Yeah.
try to conduct ourselves without that and get as much information from the public as we can, and they're speaking. But let's try to not do what we did last time. Okay, go ahead, Mr.
So
Garland.
in general terms, so the Brown Act is confidentiality for all closed sessions. So that means that nothing comes in or goes out of that without the full council's approval. So with regard to discussing items that are within that discussed in closed session and disclosing them in an open session, like tonight, particulars would be what we're talking about. And in the so you can talk about broad issues. There was a disclosure of confidential information made, and when we were discussing under, the broad principles, so things that the public knows about. So like tonight, we have 2 elements of the Brown Act exception. We have real property purchase, and we also have labor negotiations. You could say there was a disclosure of confidential information from the labor negotiations portion of the closed session. That would be appropriate What would not be appropriate would be to disclose something that is what would be considered a confidential piece of information, such as a term of the negotiation or anything that would be protected underneath that Brown Act exception that is there to protect the city. So giving up your negotiation position.
Okay, so the reason I ask that is because I don't want to violate the Brown Act by saying what I'm going to say. So we all know that when we're in closed session, the closed session is confidential. We've been told that over and over and over again. We've had a lot of leaks out of closed session over the last couple of years. And this was the latest one, and I'll be specific about what happened. So this was during the city manager search. So we're in closed session discussing who we're going to hire for city managers, going through the resumes, and it was actually conducting the interviews. And during that process, somebody asked a question about, well, how soon can we hire a city manager? You know, if we hire someone today, when do you think they could start? And somebody said, well, we've got to do the background check and we've got to look into their background. And Jack Mitchell said that, oh, my wife has already done that. She's already done some background checks. And what was said then was, but you can't tell your wife because it's closed session stuff and you can't disclose that to anybody. And that's what happened.
That's
So,
not what happened.
okay, that's why we're having a discussion.
Okay.
Okay. And now the other thing is this, is like, I would hope that everybody here tonight would want their council members to follow the rules. Okay. And you shouldn't call in all of your friends to try and intimidate the council into changing their decision or not having a discussion at least. So Jack will have his opportunity. He likes to do this. He did that with the city clerk. Jack will have the opportunity to, say what he has to say, but I'm just saying what I heard, what was said. It was said in front of the council, it was said in front of the city attorney. And that's what I'm bringing to the attention of the council tonight. And that's basically all I have. Pretty cut, dried incident.
Well, I mean, those were the words. And, disclosing information out of closed session, there's a difference. I mean, if you're going to disclose something that eventually becomes public, like maybe a contract negotiation price, that's different. But when you hand over a file that says confidential on the front of it, and you hand over to somebody else that information, I had the same file. We all had the same file. We were all given that file and told, stamped on the front, confidential. That's the most egregious part about this, because all of those individuals didn't sign up for this. And that was their information. And we all did the work. And it was more of a joke that Jack said, well, I didn't have to do it. I gave it to my wife. Well, there were 6 of us. You did retract. You said, oh, I misspoke. I did it. I did all the background checks. But it was, you were sort of joking and boasting that, I didn't have to do it. I gave it to my wife. And I know you give your wife information. So, I can understand if it was something like that. But we were in the midst of hiring a city manager. We had several applicants. I think we had 10. There were 10 individuals in there. And we were all handed the same folder. And then we came back to talk about it. And Mr. Mitchell said, I gave it all to my wife to do the background checks.
That's a lie.
You're not,
Actually, I think what you said is it shouldn't be a big deal because my wife already did it. So,
No.
I mean, that was the context. And then you backpedaled off of that and said, oh, after everybody looked at you and said, you did what? And you backpedaled off of that and said, oh, no, that's not what I meant. So I did hear it. I mean, you did say that.
The city attorney heard it.
So, I mean, it wasn't the best move on your part,
I
but
have not,
go ahead.
I have not ever broken the Brown Act or been a part of a Brown Act violation. I did the background checks on my own. I found two that had some
We don't need to
interesting
talk about
pieces.
that.
No, just, that's
Those are
okay.
parti- Those those are particulars of what Mr.
So basic,
just said. He
so,
can't get
okay,
into.
that's fine. So
particulars.
basically, just so you know, I did the background checks. I did at a later time pose a hypothetical question to my wife saying, hey, would you want to know these before you interviewed the person or after you interviewed the person? And that's where the wife comes into this. It was not looking at files. It was not doing checks. It was not involved in city business. It was literally a hypothetical. And I don't even think if we talked about it at that point of what position I was talking about. And she's certainly here and can answer to that as well. But we have never, I have never violated the Brown Act. Period.
Pardon me?
No, don't engage. Don't.
I guess because I've been in between both Mitchell and Rhodes.
You going to open it to public comment? We finished?
Yes.
Open it up to public comment.
What's that?
We have to open it public.
Oh, I know. Okay, we're going to open this up to public comment. You have 4 minutes to stay on the agenda item.
My name's Andy Algalera. I live at 279 Spring Creek. And I'll give you a little example. The other night you had the sewer committee meeting and you were here.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you had the meeting about the sewer the other day. Talking about the engineer was here. Who was, no, I mean Diane was here. Excuse me, I'll take that back, it was Diane. And Dominic made a comment that they were
I-
talking about the sludge. It said-
Andy, we are talking
Oh,
about
let me tell
this
you, I'm gonna tell you how he
No,
feels.
you're
No.
going this way.
Wait a
You were
minute.
here to talk about this action.
Okay. Jack Mitchell is being accused in the public comment about Jack. So I do have a right to say how he feels toward Jack, so the public will know. You can do it if you want. You can have me take it down and I'll go hire an attorney and we'll see what my rights are. I'm telling you how he feels toward Jack. Because this is a witch hunt. At that meeting, he looked at Larry and me, and there was a couple other people in the audience. And he said, all this trouble about that sludge is because your friends put it in the newspaper. Now, I don't know who he was commenting about, probably Jack, because Jack did put it in. So he's been after Jack ever since Jack got in. He's jealous of him, or I don't know what. But this is a witch hunt. You have to have proof. He has to have proof that his wife, that she looked at him. And where's your proof? How are you gonna get proof? I could tell you a rabbit is red if it was white. What are you gonna do? And you're the worst one because you were at one meeting here and you were talking about Stacy and Larry Road, weren't you? And you know you screwed up. If we would have had,
You are off topic now.
no, but I'm just telling
We're
you the way I
talking
feel.
about this
I have a-
violation.
I have a right to talk
You
in my
do.
4 minutes. Well, I'm saying how I feel.
You,
This is a witch hunt. And you guys are gonna end up in trouble sooner or later. What he said in closed session should stay in closed session.
Yes, it should.
should.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and he's bringing it
Absolutely
all out now. And I know some of you people have probably talked about closed session to your friends now. I would be a little
Nope.
careful. So. You know, when you get up here for 4 minutes, you can say the moon is blue, I love you and all that. You can't stop me from talking. It's been proven on TV, it's been proven at city council meetings, it's been proven at school board meetings. So, you know, you can say whatever you want, but I'm just telling you, Dominic has had whatever they want. Well, I won't say the word after Jack since he's been here, and Stacy. So, and a couple other you people have too, so. Jack, fight him, get an attorney.
Tommy Quinn over at Royal Seco Street. This is one thing that I have had a problem for a while on a couple of different levels. When you guys are all back together in January, I remember Stacy said, we're not gonna be doing those secret meetings anymore. That's what they're, secret meetings. But you guys have a lot more of them, and a lot of them go for more than an hour. All these people here, a lot of them are pretty old like me, sitting here waiting for you guys to get done. You know, you need to get rid of the secret meetings except for very specific things. Second, I know Jack. I like Jack, and I don't think you do anything to screw this town up. And I think you're looking for something to sway the coming election because your friend is running against Jack. And third, Dominic, you are what's called a Madogiwazoku. In Japanese, that means the guy who sits by the window. I know prison authority. I used to work with them when I was on the parole service network down at the Capitol. You have a job and you don't have to do anything. And you got that job because you carry the water for those people up there. And you really
Tommy,
shouldn't be
can
up
you
there.
stay on topic?
Completely out of order.
Dominic,
I'm not out of order. I'm saying what's real
There
here
we go.
is that they're trying to get Jack. And that's whole thing, you know, you could have just got together. Hey, did you tell your wife about this stuff? No, I didn't. You know, I'd kind of been a wise ass because I'm an Irish guy. You are Irish, I hope, because I did say a word. But anyhow, I've said my piece. If you three, A, B, and C, don't do anything for this city. Bye.
Hi, my name is Bailey Mitchell. I am, for full disclosure, my, Jack is my father. I think that it is very apparent that this violation coming to light just now, as Dominic had said, that there has been apparently many Brown Act violations in the past few months. I think it's interesting that this is the one that's come to an agenda item. Why hasn't any other come to an agenda item? I think it's direct retaliation for both my mother and I speaking at a previous meeting in favor of Janice, and maybe people on this board do not agree with that. It's incredibly disappointing. I know the character of my father. He would not do this. I live at home with them. They do not talk about closed item sessions. So I am just appalled. And yeah, thank you.
I kind of think this is ridiculous that this is even a topic. I feel like the city has different issues to go about. This one being the least important. You're saying that he spoke with his wife in a hypothetical conversation that you guys had. First of all, like the other guy said, where's the proof? If you can't prove it, then why go after him? Second, I know 3 people sitting up there today, including Dominic, and Dominic has not changed. If something stands in his way, he's gonna find a way to get rid of that problem. Thank you.
Larry Rhodes, I'd like to mention when you were trying to prosecute my son, Diane Ratton brought up that he was harassing a city employee. That was a closed session item.
Larry, can you stay on this item,
That is
please?
the item.
No, you're
Yes,
going off
please.
to years ago, so stay on
I
this
got
item
4
right
minutes,
here.
Woman,
Okay.
I got 4 minutes,
Woman,
Mayor.
okay.
And I just want to say that you brought it up and Pramonda backed up, says we're not going to have anybody employee that harasses people. And that was a closed session item.
It was also part of a censure discussion,
That was
and
closed.
that was in the open session.
Yes, that was an open session, correct?
Yes, it was. And it was part of the censure discussion.
Yeah, that was a closed session item. Thank you.
So during closed session, we shouldn't be able to hear anything, correct? Last session, I could hear you yelling, Miss Ratton, at Mr. Rhodes. You were yelling at him and told him he did nothing.
You
for
are
our-
off topic.
No. Here's
You
the
are
point.
off topic.
No, here's the point. Here's the point.
This is,
You guys are going after Rhodes, you're going after Mitchell. You guys have been doing this for a while now. And you can't get at Rhodes, so now you're going after Mitchell, and I'm not okay with it. I don't think anybody is.
any more public comment?
Catherine Ransom.
You do? Okay.
Got one more at the podium.
Hi, I'm Stacy Mitchell. I'm not related to Mr. Mitchell, but I do like him a lot and anyway, I love this town, like I've said before. I'm very happy to be here. And the thing is that with this is, you know, this town is so valuable to California, to the United States. And this kind of stuff is not. I did a little bit of investigation of the Brown Act. I didn't go that far into it, but I know one thing it does call for is transparency. Going in that room and us not knowing what the heck's going on or telling us we can't talk, we can't communicate. You know, we are the citizens of this community. We pay our taxes. We just want to be heard. We don't want to see people tearing each other apart. And that's what we've seen over the last like month and a half, you know? And it's like I said before, we need transparency. We need to know what you guys are talking about because this impacts us. And that's the way it is. I don't like this. And I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair to anybody, any of you out there. I've even seen you be called on the carpet as well. And that was a long time ago. But I remember going through that and I didn't like it even then. So you know what? Let's just stop all of this and let's just start working on what we can do for this city. We've got Marlette falling apart. I lived on Marlette. My son lives on Marlette. And I would really like to get that road done. We've got all this money sitting in the bank since 2015 and we need to start doing something. So thank you.
We have Dave Anderson.
Okay.
Janice, can you hear me?
Yes.
I think this is entirely inappropriate because this is the wrong venue to be hearing a Brown Act violation. If you guys have a complaint, you can file it with the Fair Political Practices Commission, State Attorney General, or even the local attorney, district attorney.
Well, let's not give them
You
my.
have- You have no investigative authority and no
A minute.
punitive authority to deal with this. So why you're discussing it really looks like nothing more than a smear campaign. So I'd like to hear from Mr. Panasco. What are you trying to accomplish?
Public comment. It's not a debate.
No,
He's free to talk. He's free to have his 4 minutes. You are
well,
not.
you can choose not to answer, but you guys have no authority to do what you're doing right now. You can file a complaint with the proper authority, and this isn't the place.
It is a council matter. It is in the municipal code.
Well, now you're arguing with me, and no, this is not a closed session item that is being aired from a complaint that you guys have, you're trying to make a case over a closed session issue. Take it to the appropriate authority.
Thank you, Dave. Next,
Next, we have Sue.
Sue. Okay.
Yes, good evening. My heart goes out to all of you. I am so grateful that you are willing to step up and be the leaders that you are to the best of your ability. I will say that if Jack Mitchell accidentally or jokingly made a comment, I wish that he would apologize and say that that was not his intent when he said something with his wife. And I believe that it would lessen the tension. And I applaud you guys for trying to do the right thing. All of you, my heart goes out. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue.
Now we have Demi.
Hi, everyone. I wrote Diane and Dominic on February 25th, reporting a January Brown Act violation by our mayor at the January Parks and Rec meeting. And Dominic, I just want to read you the reply that you sent me in the email also on February 25th.
This is not on topic.
It is on topic. Thank you.
Oh, it-
Dominic ended the email with saying, "We have all got to work together, or we will not get through the challenges that are ahead of us." And I just want to remind you of that, Dominic, because I don't think you're doing that at this moment. I think you're in the drama, and I would hope that you get back for what is best for our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Demi. You know, and I know everybody here is a supporter of Jack, obviously. There was this social media post that went out and said, come in and support. Now, this could have been 2 weeks ago when Councilman Mitchell and Stacy Rhodes wanted to put something on the agenda.
Okay,
So it's coming from both sides. You can't have a fight unless both sides are willing to fight. And that's what's been happening all year. It's one side and then it's the other. Back and forth, back and forth. And so
Point of order.
we have closed public comment.
I don't. got to
Actually,
tell you
you
something.
haven't closed.
Oh,
public
okay.
comment yet.
Go ahead, Andy.
Public. I read it when on down here at the post office. Nobody sent me anything. You're accusing me of being Jack's friend. How do you know I'm Jack's friend? I might not even like him. How do you know? I mean, you're saying that,
I did post and ask people to show up and support me, so.
no, but I mean,
Thank you for being honest, Jack.
And so did I. I'm proud to do it.
Thank you.
For showing up.
All right.
but I'm just
Just so
saying,
for clarification.
hey, what I'm saying is the mayor shouldn't even be saying that. That I'm here because Jack posted or Stacy. I never read.
I didn't say it derogatory.
Well,
Everybody is
just
here
saying
to
you're-
support Jack. That's understandable.
This is a witch hunt and you guys are gonna get in trouble. Because you guys have went too far, you three. You're gonna end up getting in trouble. Remember that. Somebody's gonna.
Any more public comment? We'll close public comment.
Andy, can you please address the reason why we have to do this in the public and why this is before the council to answer Mr. Anderson's question?
Sure. So the Brown Act only allows for councils to go into closed section for very limited purposes. One of those purposes would be that's often, utilized is pending litigation or anticipated litigation. That means that the city itself has a claim of liability or has exposure to liability, and then we would be able to go in and discuss that claim or disclosure of liability. Here, given the fact that you have a request from and you have a council protocol, which has been approved by the council, there was a request by 2 council members to have an item on the agenda. This item that's on the agenda does not put the city at any exposure. It puts an individual, which would be Member Mitchell, at exposure, and so there's no element in the Brown Act for us to go into closed session to discuss the council's own problems. That's what the council does in public. That's what you're doing currently. And this is what the public getting to see, the council operate. As far as anything else goes, this was put on the agenda at the request of 2 council members in accordance with the council protocol. I was asked to give guidance to the city manager, which I did, and I responded with my guidance as to whether or not it met the protocol and the label of the agenda item in order for you all to achieve the intended outcomes that were requested. So if you'd like me to answer any other questions, I'm happy to.
Thank you.
So I'm not going to put you on the spot and ask you what you heard because that wouldn't be fair to you. But I just want to assure everybody that I heard what I heard. I'm not a liar. I don't have it out for Jack Mitchell. We will have to follow the rules. And the reason that this has been going on is because the rules aren't being followed. I'm just for following the rules. Like the speaker said, that all you have to do is say, oh, you know what, I may have let it slip, apologize, and it's over. But Jack wanted this to happen. You know, you will come here and insult me or insult the council for trying to do their job. Do you think that I would make it up and come here and lie? I knew that you were going to have 50 people here. I mean, I'm not a fool. So I'm just reporting what happened. Jack's saying he didn't say it. So I guess that's that.
Well, he did say it because I said, wait a minute, we're not supposed to do that.
I've
I said, wait a minute, we're not supposed to share that information. So I hear your explanation.
Thank you.
So at this point, we have,
It's
what are
discussion
our,
and possible action.
okay, so what would
um,
our action be, city attorney?
So under the Brown Act, what the council can do at this moment in time is that you can refer a willful disclosure to the grand jury. That's what the Brown Act says. I will say that a willful disclosure is something that is a specific intent, meaning that you would have to prove that there was a specific intent and that there was an actual disclosure of what would be considered confidential information. So this would be reviewed and investigated, and a determination would be made by a third party. And that would be based on facts. If it's coming from a council, it would have to be based on facts that the council agrees upon. As one of the commenters said, anybody can submit a Brown Act violation. If it's a Brown Act violation in the way of something that you all took action on, there's a process and procedure in the Brown Act for that. There's a process and procedure for individuals as well.
And just for clarification, Mr. Who was it? Mr. Anderson also said that this would belong with the FPPC. That is incorrect. Is that, am
Yeah,
I correct
yes.
in that? That is not an FPPC
That is correct.
issue?
That is correct.
So our actions would be to refer this to the grand jury, the district attorney, or leave it be?
Yeah, if you're doing something of that nature, you would have to agree upon the facts of the circumstance. So you would have to identify facts. We would have to transcribe those facts. You all would have to vote and agree upon them at a majority.
Right.
I will say that the Brown Act violations with regard to willful disclosures of confidential information are very fact specific. They will take into consideration Member Mitchell's account, and there is the element of, whether or not there was, confidential information, and that's what the grand jury would be looking at. As far as what the grand jury would do at that point in time, there's really no mechanisms in the Brown Act that say what happens for a disclosure of confidential information. And other attorney general opinions have said that it is improper. That's been the determination that's made by the attorney general, that's improper for officials to disclose, because damages typically do not follow along with that. So that would be, I would just, in full disclosure, you would have to have specific facts and there would be an investigation. My recommendation would be to, in the event that that's what you would like to do, you should probably conduct an investigation as yourselves prior to then just making up facts, or not making up facts. That came out incorrect, of creating facts or This is
Documenting
not coming
facts.
out, it's not coming out right at all.
Documenting the facts.
Documenting facts, thank you.
You're welcome.
Documenting facts that have been vetted by a third party and not a political body.
I have one question to ask you. Are you part of that investigation? Are you
It's-
considered part of the investigation?
It would be, you know, I would not prefer to be part of that investigation just because of it being the political nature. And, you know, my role in the city is really to maintain the confidence of the council and in protection of the city. So I would recommend that there be a third party just because, you know, for the role of the office of city attorney. But you could in fact direct the city attorney to do that. It just would not be my preference or recommendation.
Can you give me the legal definition of willful disclosure?
Yeah, willful is a specific intent, so that means that you're proving that there was a specific intent, meaning that I had it in my mind that this is what I'm going to do, and I was intending to disclose or to you know, release or disclose confidential information. So there's two elements. You have the willful specifics that you're gonna have to prove that that was the intent of the disclosure. Second element would be, was that really confidential information?
Well, we know it was
It's
confidential,
definitely confidential, but
but I don't know if it was willful. Might have been dumb, not willful.
I'm happy to let this rest. I brought it to everyone's attention. I hope that Jack Mitchell, you know, will not do it again. I don't believe that any super damage was done, if, you know, like we didn't lose a contract or anything else, but I think everyone has to respect closed session is closed session. You can't go home and tell people what went on. And we all know that that has occurred. So I hope that the council will not do that going forward. And I'm happy to, this is gonna just go around in circles and the grand jury. I don't have a lot of faith in the grand jury, to be honest with you. So yeah. So I would just, you know, just no action, basically. See, this could have been handled so much differently. And this is, I'm glad that everybody came here because you can see who the disruptor is and it's not me. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Who? I say no more. So move on to the next item.
Yeah, I'm gonna recommend that no action be taken on item number 4. It's just gonna be a fight. It's gonna be a denial. And it's gonna go nowhere. I don't want to put you on the spot. I want to move on. I doubt that's gonna happen. It would be nice. But it's not gonna happen because everybody here has a history of fighting. And they've been doing it for years. So, moving on to item number 5, discussion and possible action regarding alleged Political Reform Act conflicts of interest by Council Member Jack Mitchell. Again.
Me again?
you again.
So again, we can do this the easy way or we can do it the hard way. I am just looking for a advice letter from the FPPC to see if there are any conflicts of interest that Jack Mitchell may have with his position at the newspaper and with his position as an employee of a local landowner when we're going into some very large contracts coming up in the near future. And I would like, before we get there and before it turns into what everyone's opinion is of a conflict of interest, which is what we hear all the time, I want to know, is there a conflict or is there not a conflict? Let the FPPC get the facts and give us written confirmation. And if there is none, then Jack is free to participate in discussions in the future. And if he has a conflict, then he simply recuses himself. It's not a big deal to have a conflict. The big deal is when you have one, you don't recuse yourself. So that's what I'm looking for a letter from the FPPC on whether Jack Mitchell has any conflicts in a few areas. That's it.
You could have asked him that
I'll
6 months
open this
ago.
up To public comment?
I'll address what you said, Stacy, at the end.
No. We're not gonna get into the
Very
the
good.
tit for tat back and
I
forth.
respect it.
Would you please explain what a conflict of interest is with Jack? What did he do? I mean, what are you trying to do?
I'm asking if there is a conflict of interest. I'm
Dominic,
not saying he has one.
I don't know what,
Ruling.
I don't know, Jack. Your father, son, I'm gonna have to bless you. But I know Dominic, they always are after him, so. And nobody's got him yet. But Jack, good luck. And you guys should work together. Work,
Amen to that.
I mean, there's a lot of things that you did that. That, you know, I don't know, what can you say, you know, leave the poor guy alone. Like somebody said, Stacy, I remember when you guys were after Stacy for helping him down at the sewer plant.
Andy, can you stay on the topic?
I am, I'm just
No,
telling.
you're going all over to the sewer plant now.
Well, yeah, I'm just telling you, we're after Stacy over the sewer plant, you guys.
We're on this topic
I
here.
know, the topic is. What is it, Mitchell?
Yeah,
Jack
Conflict of
Mitchell.
interest.
And
conflict
it's
of
a
interest.
headhunter
Yeah,
trying to get Jack. I don't know why, I don't understand. He's doing a good job. And he reports in the paper, everything he puts in the paper is true. There's never puts anything a lie in the paper about Ione. That he writes, somebody else might write it, but not Jack. Jack's a very honest man. I love his paper. I like his articles. You guys ever read his articles? Yeah, they're very good articles, so I don't know what the problem is and. You know, I don't know, Jack. Get the old guns up here.
Hi, Bailey Mitchell. Again, Jack Mitchell is my father. I'm an Ione resident. I just think that this should have been, he should have had an opportunity to recuse himself from any possible contracts or whatever it is that you guys were deciding on, or negotiating. And I think it's a little insane that this is being brought to the public in this manner where we weren't given any supporting documents. I mean, you are talking about a room full of 50 people being angry and whatever. There's zero transparency with this council. And that is truly where the anger and aggression and things come about, is when there is zero transparency. Why wasn't there any letter describing what was any of this information? It's for the FPPC to decide, you know, if there is a valid complaint. They have the discussion, they decide the outcome, and they are the ones who take action if any is needed. But yeah, this is just feels like a smear campaign, and that's it. Just defamation.
I just want to make sure I got this squared away in my head. We're worried about Mr. Mitchell having a conflict of interest because the parent company that owns his paper is adjacent to your discharge area, and they may some way, shape, or form profit. I don't know how, but from this relationship, multi-million-dollar contract. I can kind of see that, but in a very roundabout way. But it's hard to take this accusation, for lack of a better word, seriously when I give you documentation that the Prison Industry Authority is responsible for the VOCs and other contaminants in the groundwater, and Mr. Atlan there is a employee currently of the Prison Industry Authority. So I don't see how this is a conflict of interest, but that isn't, and how he's allowed to continue serving on the wastewater. Any questions? Thank you.
So my only question about this whole entire second section right here is, you say that you're asking if there's any conflict of interest, then why word it where you're alleged that something is a conflict of interest. So why don't you make that public to why you think there's a conflict of interest and not just sit behind and saying that you're asking if there's a conflict of interest?
I think there's a little head hunting because Mr. Mitchell's the only one that ever brought out about prison polluting the golf course and the people of City of Ione. And there's certain people here that ran the golf course and the other people are backing CDC on everything, which we ain't even supposed to be talking to because ARSA is supposed to be responsible for CDCR. A contract don't say we get water from ARSA. They got the contract. CDCR don't.
Larry, you're off topic.
And that is, and the biggest thing about this whole thing is about Jack Mitchell running for supervisors. This is what you guys are trying to kill. Thank you.
Anyone on Zoom?
Dave, did you want to speak?
No? Okay, close.
Unmute. Can you hear me now, Janice?
There you
Yes.
go.
Yeah. You know, I'm really confused as to how a wild speculative claim wound up before the city council for a public hearing where and you're waiting on a determination from the Fair Political Practices Commission. That's reckless. You're willing to smear and make all these accusations with nothing to show for it. And I have made several Fair Political Practices Commission complaints against Mr. Atlan, and not one of them have become the topic of a city council discussion. So I don't know how it even made it on the agenda, Mr. Lee. How do you put something on the agenda when there's nothing to discuss? You're waiting for a Fair Political Practices Commission answer? What are we discussing? It's embarrassing. Thank you.
Anyone else, Chief? No? Close public comment.
Okay, so I'd like to clarify for Mr. Anderson that we are not waiting for an FPPC determination. We are asking that the city attorney get an FPP decision on whether or not there is a conflict. So let's clear that up. We don't have not submitted anything to the FPPC. We are going to be going in are in some negotiations with other partners. And if there is a conflict, we would like to know about it. If there isn't, we'd like to know that too. The FPPC is there for this exact purpose. The council can request, and I believe the city attorney has said that he would need the council to request him to send this. I can't ask the FPPC if Jack Mitchell has a conflict. Jack Mitchell can ask the FPPC if he has a conflict, but I cannot. Dominic cannot, but we as a council can. So that's why this is here. And as per the instructions from our attorney, we have to bring this to the whole council and have the whole council decide whether or not we want to get a decision on whether or not there's a conflict.
Madam Mayor, may I clarify?
I would be
something?
happy to be on part of the letter.
So to Member Ratten's comment, the request was if the council wants me to write a request to the FPPC, that needs to be directed from the whole entire council. Individual members such as Mr. Anderson himself, anybody can write a request to the FPPC. If it involves a public agency and a private contractor, that will come to the council, and the council will have to either agree with the facts that have been presented or provide concurrence on facts that they agree upon. If the city attorney is going to write a letter of request to the FPPC requesting advice, so these are called advice letters, and the advice letter would do one of two things. It would be a shield to the city for Member Mitchell in the event that he can continue to practice and participate in any decision that's involving any of the entities that are identified in that letter. In the alternative, and it would be specific to Member Mitchell, wouldn't be anything else. In the alternative, if it came back and said there was a conflict, that would be a straight, a black and white letter law saying that, the FPPC would consider this a conflict. I will say, however, also, each of you as council members are the holders of conflict. So if a member of the council alleges against another that they have a conflict, that member has every right to say, no, I do not. And that's the reason as the approach that I take as the city attorney, and somebody says that they do not have a conflict and I do not know all of the facts of the circumstances, I ask for the council to direct me if it's the council that wants the letter written from the city attorney's office. So that's why the city attorney's office is not going to write a letter unless directed by the council. And even if the letter is written, I would not have all of the facts, and you all would have to disclose the facts and agree upon those facts as a council before they get sent to the FPPC.
I'd be willing to send that letter myself.
There you
If
go.
you guys want to get together and pick out what you think I'm conflicted on, and certainly send it to them myself, which might save some time.
Yes,
Maybe we could focus on city business.
yes,
That would be-
agreed. Perfect. Okay,
Good.
that solves that.
Yes. Report and communications from city attorney.
I will be on vacation next week from the 7th to the 14th. My deputy will be, I will provide my deputy's contact to all of you so that you can, if anything arises or if Mr. Lee needs any assistance. But I will be inaccessible from the 7th to the 14th, but the city will have coverage under my deputy.
Okay, thank you.
Have fun.
Now we're moving on to council comments, committee reports, future agenda items. Just address each one. We'll go down the
Skip
road.
the city manager report.
I do that all the time, don't I? Sorry, George.
Thank you, Mayor LaFane. There's a few things to report that's happening in the city. Number one, I think the Depot Park in West Marlette is moving forward. You'll see a lot of activity there the next couple of weeks. With respect to the basketball court in Perry Earl Park, some of these projects have been out there in twilight zone for a long, long time. So it is part of my goals to get them out either forward or not. So I am getting engineering estimates for the basketball courts in Perry Earl Park. Also as well, I'm getting some engineer estimates for pickleball courts at the basketball courts.
I'm sorry, are you getting engineering reports or are you sending out RFPs?
Engineer estimates, I'm sorry, estimates in terms
Okay,
of.
but don't those are,
Yes,
an RFP goes out first
Yes.
and then you get that? Okay.
yes. So the whole process is starting.
Okay,
The same thing is for the pickleball courts as well at the basketball facility, because from all the comments I've received, it seems like pickleball courts are extremely, extremely wanted and desired.
for years.
For years.
Yes.
And so the basketball courts are not used, or the tennis courts are not used very often. So I think a good solution is turn one of the tennis courts into 4 pickleball courts. And that can be easily done because all you have to do is remove the rubber tiles and just paint on the lines and so forth. Thirdly, we are continuing to have discussions with ARSA. We have continuing meetings next week. And then with respect to the building next door, from previous reports, I think because of the issue of mold, what I am going to do is try to get some bids to do some remediation with respect to the mold. Before council decides to do anything with the building, I think we have to make it safe first. So I think the first act is to try to address the mold that's present there.
Okay.
And that's all for now.
Thank you, George. All right, now on to item M. Mr. Atlan,
I missed Parks. I had a late night and So I can't report from that, but I will at the next meeting. I will get the minutes. That's all I have.
No future agenda items.
Not at this time.
Okay. Vice Mayor Ratten,
I have nothing.
Councilmember Rhodes,
I have nothing.
Councilmember Mitchell.
Uh,
Future agenda items, committee reports.
No, just would repeat what Chief Mackey said earlier. We've got some really hot weather. We've got some water cooler spots for you guys to stay safe and light off fireworks in December, please.
On the cooling stations, Chief, did we put that out on the website and on our Facebook site that those are now open?
Yes.
Okay, great.
The county site.
And the county site? Excellent. Thank you.
That's all I got.
I have one item and I was gonna bring it up the last meeting and the meeting before and I keep forgetting. We gotta fix this water issue. I mean, we've been talking about it for years, back and forth, VOCs, no VOCs. Let's put it to bed and figure it out if we can. I know I've talked to you about it, George, and Chief. Get an independent study, something to move forward. So if we do have an obligation, if there is something, let's take care of it. But let's start being proactive instead of just reactive to what people are bringing up here about the water. If we're going to move forward with our other item, we need to know what's going on at the golf course. So let's clarify, is it the water that's going out into the creek or you know what I'm talking about? It's just been a mess for years.
I think that's part of the process of what the Regional Water Board is trying to do.
No,
But-
we need I would like an independent, maybe agreed upon individual to assist us and assist the community. I don't want to rely on the water board. I mean, this is just me speaking.
We have to
Um,
answer to the water board, though.
Well,
So-
no, I know we have to answer, but let's make some good faith effort to get to the bottom of it.
Okay. So would you like me to meet with the concerned citizens and then try to come up with?
Well, I thought you already had.
Yes, but again, to come up with a mutual agreeable consultant.
Yeah, I wouldn't know somebody. I'm sure they're out there.
Yeah, they're out there.
Aaron Brockovich wouldn't touch it.
I think we need to define your parameters, what your,
Well, I mean, the complaint
So-
has been the water coming out of our tertiary plant onto the golf course.
So what would
has
be,
VOCs.
Has VOCs and
Well,
we're
that-
we're poisoning everything
Well,
and
that would-
plants are dying
Your
and
testing has shown.
I know our testing, but they don't believe it.
So one thing that George could tap is the resource of our wastewater operator. Our wastewater operator works in the field, does take care of this for the city. So being that that is our city official that takes care of our wastewater treatment facility,
I don't think that's going to be good enough.
that'd just be my recommendation at this moment, that
Yeah.
George work with the wastewater, and maybe bring something back for you to consider. But I think the biggest concerns previously was where the samples were taken. So
There's so many moving parts. And so if we could just get it all together and just, the city has their position, you guys have yours. Let's meet in the middle and try to figure out what we have and then what we're going to do with it. If there's nothing there, there's nothing there. But if there's something there,
understood.
it's a start.
Understood.
Okay. I don't have anything else. Thank God. So now we are going to resume back to closed session on item number conference with labor negotiators, agency designated representative, George Lee, city manager, employee organization, Ione Police Officers Association. Meetings adjourned until then. To call the regular meeting of Tuesday, July 2nd back to order. There was no action taken during closed session and nothing to report out. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Shh.